How do you stay upbeat and engaged with life as you approach the age of 50? Movement has been my form of self-care for over 20 years, and I want to show you how you too can move and take better care of yourself every day. Hi, I'm Hilda and welcome to my channel. This video is going out to anybody who feels that exercise could be a little bit of a chore sometimes because it seems overwhelming. You need to adapt your lifestyle to it. You need to stick to a schedule and you need to work hard and sweat it out. But what if you don't think about it as an exercise? You think about it as movements. What is the difference between exercise and movements? To begin with, exercise is a routine. Exercise is sticking to a format and doing it following the process. It's good for us sometimes and we do need it. But on an everyday basis, to restore our movement function, to help us to be more efficient in our daily activities and also to feel good in our joints and spine, we need not exercise too much by doing crazy crunchers or hard work or sweat it out. Instead, we need to do things that feel good to our body. And that's where movements come in, particularly self-care movements. Without further ado, let's start moving. The first movement is called hip hike and hip drop. So you're going to have both hands on the hips. So you're going to bend the left knee, in which case you'll be dropping the left hip, hiking the right hip. And then you're going to bend the right knee, dropping the right hip and hiking the left hip. So everything moves in opposition. The leg that is bent will have the hip drop, and the leg that is straight will have the hip hike. So let's do it together. From here, we're going to go right hip hike, left hip drop, left hip hike, right hip drop. Again. So as you get used to this movement, you can then let it go and just enjoy the feeling of one hip hiking and the other dropping without thinking too much about it, because movement is supposed to be intuitive. Again, right hip up, left hip drop, left hip up, right hip drop. So you can do it consecutively for 20-30 times for the movement to be smooth, and then you can take a break and continue again. How is the hip hike and hip drop good for us? Sitting causes our pelvis to get really stiff, and because of that our hips won't have much mobility. Now if we want hip mobility, which then leads to better walking pattern, prevent lower back pain, etc., we're going to make sure there is sufficient space in the pelvic girdle and the hips are mobile. So when we stand up and do the hip hike and hip drop this way, we will be moving the pelvic girdle muscles and ligaments this way, pulling. And pulling is what we want because this is an internal stretching for the ligaments and muscles in the pelvic girdle, and it's exactly what we need to prevent tightness in this region that is often neglected. Put your hands behind your thighs. We're going to work on connecting to our core. In other words, scooping our abdominals. Now take an inhalation. Exhale, pull your legs towards you as your legs try to push away, and you're going to roll your pelvis forward, followed by your lower back until you're behind your sit bones only. Stay here. We're going to practice connecting to our core, so we need to stay scooped in our abdominals. From here, take an inhalation. Exhale, open up your arms. Stay there, stay scooped. Now, very important, do not straighten out your lower back. We want our back to stay scooped because when we straighten out, we're only hinging from the lower back. That's not what we want. We want to stay scooped, curl your lower back, scoop your abdominal in, and stay there for 8 breaths if you can. If not, 4 breaths here. On the 4th exhalation, slowly come back up and straighten up the spine. For anyone who wants to move more regularly, core connection or core strengthening may seem very daunting because what I hear most from my clients are 1, I have no core, 2, my core is hopeless, it's so weak, or 3, my core just doesn't work. And scooping the belly in with the intention of doing it, if not entirely at the beginning, is a very good first step. So you're going to stand in an easy position, any position that suits you, legs fairly straight. The important thing we need to work on here is the upper arm. So let's move our arms up. Take an inhalation, exhale, and just side bend a little bit to one side. And we're not doing a lot of deep bending here. We are just going to reach our arms out diagonally. And look at your fingers with your right hand pulling the left. And just look up diagonally, stretching the side of the body here. To prepare ourselves for the day, we need to make sure we have a lot of space in our rib cage so that we breathe better throughout the day. Take an inhalation, look up, exhale, and you can bring it down. Let's do the other side. Left holds the right. Inhale, look up. Exhale, release a little bit and continue. Inhale. We're not going to a deep bend. We are going for a diagonal stretch. So as we do that, we do it really slowly, deliberately. Hold in the elongation just so that we're able to feel the connective tissues around the rib cage. It's going to help with breathing. Inhale and exhale. Another big difference between exercise and movements is that movement is very functional, as mentioned just now. It helps us to restore daily movement pattern that enable us to move better in our daily lives. For instance, if you have been sitting too much throughout the day, you need to move your pelvis, create space in your hip joints. If you feel your spine is tight from working too much in front of a computer, you need to release your spinal joints and shoulder joints. If you feel you're not very supported by your core, as in it's hard for you to sit up straight, you need to find ways to connect deeper to your core, and that does not mean doing crazy crunches. Crunches work on the superficial muscles, but it does not help us to connect deeply to our core, in other words, our deep abdominal muscles. In a lot of our minds, movements are just exercises, but again, let me repeat, they are not. Movements are functional. It helps us to restore daily movement patterns so that we can be more efficient and effective in moving with ease in our daily life. That's all for now. I'm going to show you a snippet of my other video called Restore Neutral Spine, and it's meant to show us how we can support our spine in daily life. So that video is a semi-movement, semi-exercise video that I encourage you to take a look and maybe practice it to see if it has a good effect on your body. Remember, movement is supposed to feel good. It's not supposed to stress us out. That's all this time. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.